Oh, you guys.
Let's just start with Sestito, bringing him in. What are you hoping to get out of Tommy?
Well, obviously, Bowler got a little banged up again the other night in his fight, and we want to make sure that obviously Tommy is a big body guy that certainly has a physical presence to him. But and the other side, Tommy went down, had a real good training camp for us, and was right there on the bubble, making our hockey club, and went down and didn't pout. He's been one of their best players down there, and he's going to get a chance to play up here. He's going to get the chance to be in front of the net in the power play. He's going to get a chance on one of the, a couple of top lines, and go out and do what he does best. I mean, like I said, he's a big body guy that moves well, that has good hands, and we needed some size, and we're hoping he adds to it.
What do you expect to get off of this team tonight here, who's been obviously a very good road team?
Yeah, when you look at the record on the road, they certainly a lot better than what they are at home, and you see that with lots of teams. That was something that we've been doing as well, and very mobile back end. Their defense is very active. Some real good skill back there. They got four lines that they'll roll at you, and I think that they have the abilities to play in those high-scoring games, and they've also shown that they can sort of lock teams down too. So, team that's rolling with confidence, and we got to make sure that it's time that we get better at home here. That you get a good challenge like this against a Ranger team that we only see once. That we put our best foot forward. That we do what we're capable of, where we get back and grind and we work, and we make teams play in their end of the rink. I don't think we've done enough of that in the past. That our strong suit all year has been our forecheck and our ability to cycle and hem teams in, and we need to get back to that, and there's no better time than tonight.
Sticking with the theme of hard work, isn't the penalty killing a lot of that too? Attention to detail and just really wanting it more than the other group?
Well, certainly that's a big area. I think that we as coaches, you can really kind of chop it down. I mean, we ask our centermen to win face-offs, and we're winning them, and we're not getting those clears. I mean, when you have opportunities to put the puck 200 feet and it knocks 20 seconds off the kill, by the next time they get up the ice, obviously that's a big step. I think there's been times where we were getting close to blocking shots where it was a trademark. It was the one area for me that really stuck out when we were in the top 6 in the league. Our block shots on our PK was outstanding, and we have a tendency a little bit lately of maybe just being a foot away from where that lane is, and we got to get back to doing it. I think the other side is that we've always talked about how you play against a 1-3-1 or a half wall overload or an umbrella, and it's being one step ahead. It's always anticipating what that is coming. Obviously, they're going to see before the game and video, but when it happens on the ice, it's always being one step ahead of the pass. And right now, we're one step behind. We're not recognizing what the other team is doing, and that's an area where we were always real good and we always paid attention to. And like you said, though, in the end, it's about hard work. And if you're going to get passive and you're going to sit back, good teams, good players are going to, they're going to find ways to score goals. So, to me, I'd rather be all out. If somebody's going to, first guy gets pressing, the other three guys better be ready to move.
I want to get your philosophy on you having coached in the minors the last couple of years with real young, talented players in the minors. It seems like right now you guys have been bringing up guys that are a little bit older that have been in the league a couple of years. Is it your philosophy in general that those guys that are the Moores and the Savards and the Kabaliks should stay there for a while and get some experience before you start bringing them up, or if you're just bringing them up for a game or two, they're better off just stand
I strongly believe that first of all, in the summer you do your homework and you bring your vets, bring in some older guys that have some experience, that can be good depth for you, that can be call-up guys that can come in tough situations and not have the nervous, the rookie sort of initiation that most young guys go through. The process to me, for young kids going to the American Hockey League, is first that they're living on their own, looking, trying to prepare for 80-game schedule. A lot of them have never gone through. The grind of the travel, the practices, all that stuff. And I've had the experience of where some young guys have gone up and they've been very good and deserve the opportunity. When they come back, it's like they've reached their goal, and now we can't. Now you got to start all over again and get them to work and get them to get back to doing the things that got them called up in the first place. And there are exceptions. There are players that are 18, we see in the league, 19 that come in out of college, Europe, major junior, that come in and make an impact in the league. There are those players. There are those special players, and some teams can afford to do it, some teams can't. But I really believe that if your young guys can grow together, that they can you know, sort of evolve as a group there, have success as a group there. We saw it in Colorado. There's some team that we saw it in Pittsburgh. We saw it in Philadelphia a few years back. Washington has done it. There's young teams that have grown together. LA has done it. And if you're a young core, and you sometimes, you always want to be at times selfish, and you want them all here now, and you want in, because yes, there's importance that we make the playoffs and that we have success now, but sometimes you have to look a little bit farther down the road. And you know, the pieces that we have here, that the people we brought into training camp to help us right now, we got to make sure that we're taking the most out of those guys. And the other side is, if you're having great success, yes, it's nice to have the young guys here, but if you're not having any success, and those young guys are around that, you have a tendency, these guys have find bad habits, and they also get caught up in the losing. And you want to make sure that you bring those guys along right. And I think the American League is a tremendous place to learn your trade, to really kind of get the flaws out of your game. We feel we have good coaching there. We have good people that can help those guys become good pros, and not just hit and miss 1 year in, 1 year out. I want these guys to be 10-year pros, and we're trying to get to do it the right way.
Along those lines, Scott, can you talk
I
about
hope I get a 10-year contract.
the move for Nicky down there and what you hope he gains out of that?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, he had a real good training camp, and he earned the opportunity to start here. And you know, I think go these, you know, whatever, 23, 24 games that we've tried to put him in as many opportunities that where he could have success on the power play, on the top lines. You know, there was some inconsistency with his play. He didn't play a couple times, but you know what? We just wanted him to go out and do what he does best. And then as it kept going and he didn't score, you know, then it really, you could tell it started to kind of weigh on him. And now we started to press, and now it wasn't playing on the inside. It was always shots from the outside, and you know, his compete at times wasn't as where it needed to be. And you could tell he kind of became, you know, somewhat down on himself. And again, he's a young player, and he just, to me, he has to go get confidence. He has to go feel good about himself. And if he goes down and does it in a couple of weeks here, it may take 2 weeks, may take 2 months, I don't know what it's going to be. But to me, for him to go there, first step, going there, you know, and understanding. And you know, we talked to him yesterday, and you know, he's going to go down there and play. And to me, that's it's part of maturity for a young player. And some guys get it instantly, like I said, and some guys it takes a little longer. And you know, we're not giving up here. It's still a process, and we're hoping that the Philly that comes back here, whenever that next time is, that he's feeling good in his confidence level, and he's a better player, and he's a guy that's going to step in and be an impact player. We're hoping that if he's going to play in that top six, he's got to be an impact player for us.
Do you send him down there with homework, for lack of a better term, and say, work on this, concentrate on this?
We talked a little bit about it, but with him, it's, you know, he knows that it's about scoring goals. It's doing the extra work, obviously, before practice, after practice, you know, bearing down when he gets chances, rebounds, open nets, whatever it might be. But it's more, we talk to the coaches. I mean, I've talked to Rob, and we talked to Larson. You know, there's going to be areas that we've already passed on that we wanted to make sure that he's out there doing little things. And they're doing a lot of that stuff already with the Calverts and the Kabaliks and everybody else is down there. So he needs to be a part of that, and you know, just to continue to work at his trade to make sure that he gets better every day.
Just one other thought on Sestito, just his size. I mean, when you walk in that dressing room, that's the first thing you notice. Is he here more for that, or more for his goal-scoring ability? I mean, what do you expect him to add?
No, I think that, you know, where Boulder has played a role for us and not just been a 4-minute guy. Boulder's played a role where he's pounded on defense. Our fourth line has been very good for us over these first 25, 26 games, and I just think Tommy's a guy that can do a lot of that. And Tommy's, you go back on Tommy's history, Tommy's got great hands. Tommy's a guy that, you know, actually scores goals and was a high prospect in junior because of that. And but he adds a size element, he adds a physical element, and you know, I've talked to him. I talked to him in training camp. I talked to him today. He's not here to play small minutes just to go out and line up and ask a guy to fight. He's here to be a factor. He's here to intimidate the other defense because he's coming in, because he can move, because he can track people, because he can hit. I want defense moving pucks quick because he's coming there. And the other side too is I want him to get to the net, use his size around that goaltender, and you know, obviously, yeah, we need a little bit of size, and he's certainly going to help us.
Would hindsight being 2020, would Fieltoff have benefited from a year of North American junior hockey?
Oh, that's a fine line to walk. I think that you know, different players go different routes. You know what? There's lots of guys that have dominated over, and there's a pretty good player in Washington that dominated over us and just jumped in the league. But you know what? I think that each and every individual is different. You know, I think that you know, if he maybe if he wasn't ready and got a longer season, I think he only played through 38 games in the American League,
Yeah.
maybe a full year in the American League.
Minor, yeah.
My opinion,
Yeah.
but that's not necessarily what was that. I don't know the full circumstances, but to me, you've got to recognize whether or not a guy's ready to play in this league or not.
Yeah.
You can't try to force feed somebody in if he's not ready to go, and I think that's an area where, with all our prospects moving forward, we really will look at him. If there's a guy that we draft that's ready to go next year, and he can play, and he shows us in camp and through the exhibition that he's ready to go, we're going to give him every opportunity to play here. But as soon as that declines and, you know, he starts to regress back to that young player that most of those guys are, then we have to make the right decision, what's best for him and best for us. We can't allow our team to get hurt by trying to force feed somebody in here.
You've obviously done your homework as far as looking what his first year was here. It was really kind of sporadic. He was in the minors for a little while.
Yeah.
He was up here for a couple of weeks, got sick, he got hurt. He really didn't have much of a first year, did he?
No, and that's all part of it, that you know, these guys have to learn. They're going from the stage of being young men and, kids into young men, starting to grow up and and the biggest thing to me is being on their own. They're not billeted anymore, they're not at dorms. You know, they're now all of a sudden they're on their own and they have to look after themselves, and I just think that it's a huge step for a lot of players. Some guys are mature enough to handle it, other guys it takes a lot longer.